When the whole family comes together to watch the game, nobody wants to miss a second of the action to run to the grocery store. With Instacart, you can get all your weekly groceries in as fast as an hour. Less time shopping means more game time. Let's go. Visit instacart.com to get free delivery on your first 3 orders. Offer valid for a limited time. $10 minimum per order. Additional terms apply.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Sports Daily on KFH. Brooks Koepka is your champion. Tommy, tell me why I care about that.
I can't tell you why you should care about that because I don't care about that.
You're not a Brooks Koepka guy?
Oh, I can't stand Brooks Koepka. I'm not
I
a
thought
fan.
it was. Is Koepka the one people don't like, or is DeChambeau the one people don't like?
I think they're both kind of in that same category a little bit. I don't know. I mean, they had that big feud. They didn't like each other for a while. They both defected to the Live Tour. I'm not a big Koepka fan. I haven't been for a long time. Honestly, I was locked in. I watched it. I love watching, major championship Sundays down the stretch, especially when there's a lot of, intrigue and it's close and that sort of thing. But I'll tell you what, I couldn't care less that Brooks Koepka won at all. Not at all.
See, I do think he's as compelling as any golfer on tour. Like, if you gave me a list of names to pay attention to, I mean, he's at or near the top of it. And that's the thing. Like, I think he plays a nice villain for people. But I'm not sure there are more compelling golfers on tour right now. Sam Stevens,
what
by the way.
makes him compelling?
Wichita.
I mean, I don't know why you say he's compelling.
Because he's always in the mix, and people either seem to love him or hate him. That's compelling to me. Like Scotty Scheffler. You think Scotty Scheffler's compelling at this point?
Sure I do, because he's always in the mix and people tend to love him.
He's really good. He is really good. I think he's getting there, right? But he's not driving people to watch or not watch a tournament like Brooks Koepka is. I mean, I think you got to go to like Rory McIlroy. Spieth had that a little bit for a while. I think there are so many good golfers on tour right now that you've got to have a little something extra. And I think Koepka has that. Love it or hate it, he's got it. Sam Stevens, by the way, not a good final round. He ended up 72nd. Made the cut, though, which was cool. But I don't know. I was not very engaged in this tournament. I think it's probably because there was, too many other things that I was excited about. The U.S. Open is usually the other one that I really get excited for. This one should have, though, like historically, difficult tournaments like this do pique my interest, right? Where guys are struggling a lot, and they got a little better through the weekend, it seemed like. But, struggling golfers makes me happy because I'm one of them. And I like it. And it was moderately competitive. Koepka sort of controlled things on the last day and didn't really let anybody make it super competitive. But I don't know. I mean, wasn't
Hovland
super
was right
into
in
this
there.
one.
Hovland was right in there until about 16. Got into some trouble, and then at that point, Koepka put his foot on the gas and won it by a couple strokes at the end of it. I think my issue with Koepka overall, he's just a jerk, and it's just one of those, like, he's got that ego, and sometimes that's fun to watch, and it's fun to have that villain. I find it unpleasant. Like, I think that you've got a ton of athletes today that have ego and cockiness or whatever, and it's entertaining. I don't find his cockiness and ego entertaining. I find it unpleasant. I find it, I want to turn off the TV just because I'm not a fan of that. So I'll tell you what I was locked into more than Koepka winning the tournament. Did you follow this Michael Block story? Because that was so much more fun, and I was so much more locked into that than I was Koepka winning the tournament.
And where did he end up, by the way? I am aware of the story.
15.
Yes.
15.
And I didn't realize he finished that high, so that's awesome. So he's a pro, right? He's just a pro somewhere?
Correct. Yeah, he qualified because there's a couple of spots open in the PGA Championship every year for the top teaching professionals in the country that get to play in the tournament. And typically it's, a nice story. They get to come in and play, and they don't do well at all. This guy did really, really well and made the cut. Got to play with Rory on Sunday, which was awesome. Made a hole-in-one on number 15, and then he made a putt on number 18 to finish 15th, which means he automatically qualifies for next year's PGA Championship, which never, ever happens. And so I was so much more locked into that and the amount of fun this guy was having. And, I feel like that's what golf is all about, not the villain in Brooks Koepka winning the tournament. So I'm glad that other storyline was there because I was so much more locked into that.
Yeah, I wasn't locked into any of it. I did see the block story, which is I'm always in for a good story. So that was interesting. Most people throughout the weekend when they were mentioning the tournament, they were mentioning their interest in Koepka. It was more about him, like what's Koepka doing today? And this was not on, not when he was clearly the leader, than it was anything else with the tournament. And that's why I posed that question. What's made me wonder, is Koepka that guy now? Is he becoming that guy where he is the person that people are most interested in what he's doing one way or the other in every tournament? I think he might be. I think he might be the guy right now, and this could change because I don't think he's got like a stranglehold on this. But and this is where the LIV thing comes in, right? Because you don't get to see him very often. And it's like, I think that he is, though. Like in these majors, I think the most people, generally speaking, want to know what he's doing. And, it's not like it was when Rory, who was probably the biggest, I think, after Tiger and Phil. Still Tiger, let's be honest. But I think Koepka is that guy. And that's just, anecdotal on just sort of what I hear and listen to. Most people, when they talk about majors, to me, they're like, "Where's Koepka? What's he doing?" And I don't know. I don't really care. He's on the LIV tour, and I don't pay that much attention to him anymore. But I think he's taken that mantle.
There was such a big difference. And I don't know, you never watched the Full Swing documentary on Netflix, did you? Okay, so there's an entire episode, because you brought up, both of these guys. There's an entire episode dedicated to Brooks Koepka and Scottie Scheffler in one episode. And it kind of goes back and forth between the guys. And you just see the difference between them. And Koepka's in his mansion with his supermodel wife. And at the time, he's not playing very well. And he's so salty, and he's down on himself, and he's, acting like he's too cool for the game, and he doesn't care what anybody's doing. And like he's set up to be this big time villain. Then you've got Scheffler, who's like the all-American kid, right? The nicest guy in the world. And, he's got, a cute wife and a cute house and a cute neighborhood, and like just the friendliest guy that you could ever come across. And they put these two guys in this episode basically against each other, I think, to show how different they actually are. But one thing is the same between them. They're both incredible golfers. And we saw that yesterday. Scheffler came back and was only 2 strokes back and tied for second. They're both right there. But I think that's one thing that I do enjoy watching, is how, like, the different personalities between Koepka, who's like a rock star, right?
Yeah.
He's like your quintessential athlete. And then Scheffler, who's just an aw shucks kind of guy.
But don't you always need that, especially in golf? Like, think back. Like, everybody everyone was trying to find that with Tiger, right? Because Tiger was painted in that Koepka mold. And, you've got this compelling, bombastic, back in his prime guy who looks physically like he should be a football player, not a golfer, like kind of like Koepka, right? And then you've got, first it was David Duval, right? And then they sort of created this image of that for Phil Mickelson, which I don't think is the case, but that was, that's the image of Phil we had for a long, long time, right? And so I think golf does that intentionally, and that's good. Like, it's good because that will add to it. If you've got, that, and I'm sure for a lot of people that did watch that was definitely like in the forefront of this tournament. That's a
sure.
Good
and
thing.
So, of course, I watched that, and I'm like, give me Scheffler all day.
Yeah.
Like the way that I watched Koepka, in that episode, I'm completely turned off by him. Like, want nothing to do with him.
Yeah,
I think he's a jerk, And then I'm like, let's go Scheffler, Yeah. Well, it's it's kind of manufactured. It's kind of a narrative in that way. And I get it. I understand it. And sure, like, Koepka, it was historic for him to win that tournament. That's his 5th major. There aren't a ton of players that have won 5 or more, right? It puts him above Rory, as far as majors won. So I get the historic value of it. Personality-wise, the guy turns me off. And so And I think, some of that comes from watching that documentary.
It does. And it's interesting. I don't know. I don't know if you can get it would just like golf's always better when there's a head-to-head or something like it, and maybe that's it. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but star power winning tournaments is probably always good. I would imagine the numbers were pretty good for the PGA Championship because there was star power involved at the top. That tournament is in the books. Up next is U.S. Open, right, in June, and then the Open Championship after that. So we'll see. We will just continue to watch these majors and watch Sam Stevens now as he is making noise on the tour, which is awesome.
He's going to do something. He's going to win a tournament one of these days.
He finished second. So, if that's the best finish for him this year, that's okay because he's made a bunch of money already, right? And so he's had, I think, 3 or 4 top 25s. Now he's made the cut at a major. Like, he just keeps on doing things, right, that sort of – and we know how that goes in golf. Like, you can get hot and you can, string it together. He did not have a good final round, unfortunately, but – just in general terms, heck yeah. We had, this guy from our backyard makes a weekend at a major and has finished second at a big-time tournament. The Valero's not a small tournament, which is where he finished second. So good stuff there. We'll continue. It gives us something to watch on tour. Like, for me now, I can watch Ryan Palmer if he's playing, Gary Woodland if he's playing. Now Sam Stevens is in the mid. That's what I like. That's honestly, like, for me, that's what tunes me in to watch golf on the weekends. Because right now – I got NBA playoffs. I'm going to watch that. I had Wichita State softball. Yeah, I'm going to watch that. I had Rangers baseball, which has become nightly viewing for me again, which I can't tell you how happy for that I am in my life.
You're taking Rangers baseball over the PGA
absolutely.
Championship?
Are you kidding me? Yes.
I didn't watch a single minute of Braves baseball this weekend because I'm locked into major championship golf.
Tommy, I have been turning on the NBA Finals at the conclusion of Rangers games. That I've been starved for baseball now for at least 5 years, right? And for the Royals and the Rangers have been on sort of similar paths, which has not been good, right? I'd like to have at least one, right? At least one is better than both, almost, because I baseball this time of year, being able to throw it on and just lightly pay attention is a part of the summer for me. Like, I'll be listening to Rangers or Royals. I'll be watching Rangers or Royals. And unfortunately, the Royals haven't been able to get it together. So it's been Rangers. Yeah, I mean, I'm watching that over everything right now.
Hey, so the Braves took 2 of 3 from the Mariners this weekend. So you're welcome. Trying to do our part to help you in that division race.
Let's do that to the Astros, who are heating up now, which we all knew they would. I think they're on like a 7-game win streak. So that's not okay. Like, nobody wants that to happen. I haven't checked it. I wonder what my Rangers futures bet sitting at now. I bet it's higher than 106.
Cash it out, baby.
They're doing this without DeGrom. This isn't a Rangers show. I get it, but I'm just saying, like, you can all follow along on this journey of a futures bet that we've got here with the Rangers. You can all follow along and enjoy in that. 2 $100 bets at 50-1 odds. Okay, do the math, and then another like $20 bet with 60-1 odds. I'm all in, baby.
I would have cashed it out a couple of weeks ago. So, hey, more power to you for hanging in there.
This will be drama for everybody to live with me this summer. I'll agonize over these things. 869-1240. That's the IHOP hotline. All kinds of things to get to. Before we hit the break, let's talk about the Western Conference Finals a little bit more specifically. Let's do that next, and then we can turn the page to some other topics on our plate. Sports Daily, Albrecht and Caster coming right back.